Today on Commander Replay, we play our first budget deck with Balan Wandering Knight. Can Budget Balan hang with full throttle YIDRIS Maelstrom Wielder, TROSTANI Selesnya's Voice, and AYLI Eternal Pilgrim? Find out next on Commander Replay. Welcome back, everyone. Playing some budget Balan Wandering Knight today. So this is the very first budget deck I've ever put together. Opening hand, looks like a keeper. And so I've been meaning to start doing more budget decks on the channel. It's just been a time concern of actually putting the list together and then testing it enough to feel comfortable that you should actually spend your money on. For this particular case, I'm using the paper budget. Decks are so cheap on Magic Online already, it doesn't really seem that necessary to build budget decks geared toward the Magic Online price. So we'll be using the paper cost, and this deck is coming in right around $100 right now. And the best part is, I was able to keep a lot of the powerful tutors like Stoneforge Mystic and Enlightened Tutor and Steelshaper's Gift. Those did eat up a considerable amount of the budget, but I was able to tweak the deck in a way to keep those in, since they're very powerful and basically those cards fit perfectly into what our deck is doing, so we really didn't want to skip out on those. But as anything, because we're working on a limited budget, I did have to make cuts from other places to accommodate some of those heavy hitters. Stoneforge Mystic at around $15 really eats up a lot of $100 budget. So I know that the word budget is going to be a little bit different to everyone. The few budget deck lists that I've attempted in the past always seem to come in around $100. I just find it really difficult to make a deck that's even playable on less than $100. So for my particular standards, we'll be using $100 in paper as the budget marker. Anyway, our turn one. We draw a Bloodforge Battle Axe. We also have Onaganata. We'll go with Onaganata first, just in case anyone wants to fire off some artifact removal. We'll wait on the Bloodforge Battle Axe, because I want to keep that protected a little bit. Although, in all likelihood, we'll probably just end up playing it on our next turn, but Sol Ring for the YIDRIS opponent, and Lightning Greaves. That's really bad. Uh-oh. This game is going to get out of hand very quickly. Reassembling Skeleton for the AYLI opponent. And back to our turn, we draw an Armory Automaton. So we'll just play the Bloodforge Battle Axe, pass the turn. Coiling Oracle for the YIDRIS opponent. Anyway, let's take a look at what our opponents are actually playing. We have YIDRIS Maelstrom Wanderer, which is every color except white. For a 5/4 trample, when it deals combat damage to a player, as you cast spells from your hand this turn, they gain Cascade. YIDRIS is always a Spellslinger style deck, where they're going to look to play a lot of wheel effects, probably try to get Waste Not down, and do a bunch of tricks, probably generate infinite mana at some point. Keeping YIDRIS off of their first attack is really, really important, and it looks like something that's going to be difficult to do today, being that they have Lightning Greaves and a Sol Ring out with all of the mana that they need, so hopefully someone's got some instant speed removal. I would be very happy if we could draw into a Swords or a Path on our turn. And unfortunately, two of our opponents are ramping up pretty hard. With a Sol Ring and a Kodama's Reach, we are pretty far behind now. Retreat to Hagra coming into play. That is not holding up instant speed removal like we wished it was. We draw another plains. Lands are important, so we will need lands. Choice here is Armory Automaton or Haunted Cloak. I'm going to play the Haunted Cloak right here. We can always slam the Armory Automaton next turn. And then when we do that, we can equip everything, and the Armory Automaton will have Vigilance and Haste, which will be important. And a Locust God for the YIDRIS opponent. That is really bad. We do have a board wipe in hand, so that will be helpful. Hopefully they can't go too crazy before we get a chance to play that board wipe. We're still 3 turns and 2 lands away from being able to cast Descend Upon the Sinful. So Locust God swings into the TROSTANI opponent. Continuing on what our opponents are playing, we have TROSTANI Selesnya's Voice, green, white, for a 2/5. Whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain life equal to that creature's toughness, and you may pay 3, tap it to populate. So TROSTANI going to be a go-wide creature token deck with a lot of life gain. And then finally, we have AYLI Eternal Pilgrim is a white and a black for a 2/3 with Death Touch. Sacrifice another creature, you gain life equal to the sacrificed creature's toughness. Pay 3, sacrifice another creature, exile target non-land permanent, activate this ability if you have at least 10 more life than your starting life total. So definitely going to be some sacrifice tricks and some life gain. I'm never entirely sure what to expect against AYLI, but I'm sure there'll definitely be some tricks in there that we'll need to worry about. Luminarch Ascension coming down for the TROSTANI opponent. That's good. That will put some focus on them for a second, which will be nice. I actually wonder if we should be attacking into... Luminarch Ascension's really, really powerful. Alright, so our turn 4, gonna play a land. We are going to cast the Armory Automaton. We're gonna equip everything in play to our Armory Automaton, including our opponent's Lightning Greaves. I didn't realize this at first, but... So Armory Automaton can equip an opponent's equipment to one of your creatures, but your opponent still controls the equipment, which is really weird, so they have the ability to move it off of the armory automaton after they do that. Ah, crap. Well, now we can do it. So the Onaganata didn't attach because armory automaton's power wasn't high enough, but now that we have the Bloodforge Battle Axe on there, it should be high enough to do that. So we'll swing into the YIDRIS opponent since they are way ahead. So we'll use that ability and get in for some damage. So opponent's going to throw the Coiling Oracle in front. Don't think he realizes there's trample. So we'll do 1 to the Coiling Oracle, and the rest will trample over. So we'll get in for 6, and we'll get a Bloodforge Battle Axe copy. And opponent will get a counter on Luminarch Ascension. So Locust God's going to create a token off of their draw per turn. And let's see how crazy things get on this turn. They play a land. Whispering Madness, so everyone's going to wheel their hands. Locust God is going to make a bunch of tokens, so the crap storm has started. We draw into some okay stuff. We lose the board wipe. The board wipe would have been nice, but we do get lands. We have this Infiltration Lens, which will help us draw more cards. Indomitable Archangel will protect our stuff, and Thalia will actually shut down the Locust God tokens, at least for a turn. It'll make them enter tapped, which will be nice. Unfortunately, all this stuff's going away because now opponent's playing a Windfall, and there are a massive number of tokens in play. And things are going to be tricky now. We do have a Dawn Charms, so we can fog damage for a turn if we need to. And opponent's sending a whole bunch of them at us. So we're going to take a pretty big hit. We go down 10 life. Man, I really wish we kept our hand before the Windfall. The Thalia, and I really liked a lot of the cards in that hand. Infiltration Lens is a card that I'm excited about, because that will keep us drawing, but not to be, unfortunately. So opponent plays a Swords to Plow. Ooh, nice! So opponent didn't move the Lightning Greaves back to the Locust God, and that left that open for a Swords to Plowshares on their Locust God, so that won't completely solve the problem, but it at least shut off more tokens from being generated, which will be really good. Trostani, Selesnya's Voice coming into play, and a Sylvan Scrying. Let's see what land they search for. Searches for a Maze of Ith. Unfortunately, Maze of Ith is really good against Balan, but it'll also be really good against YIDRIS, at least if someone could get rid of the Lightning Greaves. With Lightning Greaves out, the Maze of Ith isn't going to do a ton. The Maze of Ith will actually be pretty difficult for us to deal with, though. We are going to need to find some Shroud. We also lost our Rogue's Passage, which, in this particular deck, because I had to get this deck down to budget value, there aren't a lot of utility lands in this deck. Rogue's Passage is one of them, and a fairly powerful one at that. Opponent plays a land, Retreat to Hagra triggers. Each opponent's going to lose 1 life, and the AYLI is going to gain 1 life. I would be really happy if we could draw exactly Sol Ring on this turn, because then we could get our Balan down and into play and equipped, and swing in with haste and all of our equipment at the YIDRIS opponent, but we're talking a 1 in 76 chance right now, so it is unlikely. One card I've thought about for this deck is Kusari Gamma. I don't think it made this deck list, unfortunately. I should double check. So opponent's going to return the Reassembling Skeleton. Looks like they sacrificed it for some life. We draw a Plains. We already had lands. Lands aren't really where we needed to be. I'm going to play the Sword of the Animist. Unfortunately, I can't equip the Sword of the Animist right here because I want to leave up this Dawn Charm so we can fog in case opponent comes into us really hard. Also, I'm willing to give up the Armory Automaton right here to the bunch of tokens because Balan will do the same thing that Automaton does, more or less, except more efficiently. Just that Balan will have double strike. So we'll get the +1/+1 off of the Sword of the Animist, but we won't get the attack trigger. So opponent's going to block with 3 tokens. That's what I thought they would do. We'll still trample over for a bunch of damage. We'll also get some Bloodforge Battle Axe copies. We have 4 copies of Bloodforge Battle Axe. That's going to be no joke when Balan comes down. I wouldn't be surprised if YIDRIS has more wheels that they plan to use this turn. So they're going to crack a fetch. Gets an Overgrown Tomb untapped. Opponent's going to play Far Wanderings. Search for a basic land card, put it on the battlefield tapped. Threshold. Search for 3 basic lands, put them onto the battlefield tapped. Opponent does have Threshold. It's going to be a lot of mana. So opponent just Chaos Warped the Luminarch Ascension. That's a pretty good thing. That Luminarch Ascension can get out of hand pretty quickly. And no attacks from the YIDRIS opponent. That is surprising with 10 flying tokens. I would have attacked. This does give them some ability to block and makes a swing from Balan not necessarily lethal. I haven't done the math. Oketra the True coming into play. So based on what we have in play currently, Balan would have 15 power and would have double strike, meaning Balan would do 30 damage. If opponent blocked with every single token, they'd be exactly 1 short of lethal commander. That's frustrating. So opponent's going to drain us all for 1 again and gain 1. Opponent's going to sack their Reassembling Skeleton again, gain some more life. They're up to 45. The Maze of Ith is now in play, by the way. That is something we'll need to be careful of. Skursdag High Priest coming into play for the AYLI opponent. Situationally, this can be a very strong card. Being able to make 5/5 flying black creatures is pretty good. So opponent sacking more stuff, up to 46 life. We draw Maria Shepherd is really good. That will help us get some of the stuff out of our graveyard that we want back in play. I mean, right now, I don't think we have any other options. I think we just play Balan and swing big. So everything's equipped up on Balan. We're going to get a Sword of the Animist trigger. If we can keep Sword of the Animist around with a Maria Shepherd, those will combo together really nicely to bring back all of our stuff. So opponent's going to block with every single token, so they're going to take 20, which is really unfortunate. We get a bunch of Battle Axe triggers. We get a bunch more Battle Axe triggers. Oh my god, we have so many Battle Axes. Oh my god. Bloodforge Battle Axe is a really fun card. You guys need to try it out. I've been playing it in this deck. I've also been playing it in Aurelia a little bit, and it's just so much fun. Alright, so we are back. Had some technical difficulties. My recorder shut down and stopped recording audio for a while, and it took me about 5 minutes to get back up, so a few things have happened since the recorder went down. One, YIDRIS came in with a Dragon Mage, equipped it up with the boots, and attacked, and made us wheel our hand again, which wasn't great. I really wanted to keep that Maria Shepherd so that we could use Sword of the Animist to get a lot of the things that have already been wheeled out of our hand. Also, the TROSTANI opponent played a Darksteel Mutation on our commander, so Balan is indestructible but no longer has Double Strike or the Attach All Equipment ability. Now, mana will become very relevant about how many of these Bloodforge Battle Axes we can equip. And we also need to be careful of this Maze of Ith. We really need to find some Shroud, which this Whisper Silk Cloak will actually do magnificently. So let's lay down the Inventor's Fair. Then we will play the Whisper Silk Cloak. It's 2 to equip the Whisper Silk Cloak. I think we're going to be a little bit short on the amount that we need to be lethal in one swing. That's frustrating. Yeah, we're 1 mana short of being able to Inquisitor's Flail and Whisper Silk Cloak all in the same turn. So, we can always equip 1 more Battle Axe. So, I think right here we actually need to attack the AYLI opponent to bring down their life total some. So we'll equip up 1 Battle Axe, and then equip up the Shroud and Unblockable. We'll get a Sword of the Animist trigger, so we'll get another Plains into play. And this should at least keep AYLI off their ability for a few turns. We get even more Bloodforge Battle Axe triggers. We have so many Bloodforge Battle Axes. It's unfortunately that I had some technical problems in the middle there, because this game is shaping up to be quite fun. Opponent's gonna Enlightened Tutor. Aura Shards, that's a good choice. Aura Shards is a good choice. Aura Shards coming into play. Removing the Whisper Silk Cloak and the Trample. Anything with Trample and Unblockable are gonna be the big ones that are gonna be tough for us to lose. So, Intangible Virtue for our opponent. AYLI scoops it up. Now it's just Balan versus TROSTANI. Let's see how this goes. They're going to get a trigger for Aura Shards off of the Reese the Redeemed. Targets the Haunted Cloak. Opponent's going to attack. Nothing we can do about it. We're just going to have to take it. Our Inventor's Fair triggers, so we'll gain some life. Back to our turn. There's a Day of Judgment. Our creature's indestructible, so Day of Judgment could actually be fairly helpful. We'll start by playing our Seagate Wreckage. Unfortunately, we can't equip our equipments anymore because of the Whisper Silk Cloak. So I think we just go to combat, get in for the 14, get another sword trigger, play the Plains. Opponent takes the 14, we get even more Bloodforge Battle Axe triggers. We have so many Bloodforge Battle Axes. So right now, we are going to fire off the Day of Judgment. That'll slow our opponent down quite a bit. I think all we need to do right now is buy ourselves time. I'm going to leave the mana open so that we can crack Inventor's Fair at our end step, and we can get Argentum Armor to blow up the Darksteel Mutation. Opponent's going to cast Hornet Queen. They're going to get another Aura Shards trigger. Ooh, they're going to get 5 Aura Shards triggers. Ooh. So Whisper Silk Cloak gone. Naganata gone. Sword of the Animist gone. Probably going to lose everything that isn't a Bloodforge Battle Axe. We have 9 planes, 10, 11, and if we sack our Inventor's Fair, we'll be down to 10 lands. So that will not be enough to cast and equip the Argentum Armor all in one swing. But I think we can still get something useful out of our deck, possibly like a Lightning Greaves or something like that, that can protect us from this Maze of Ith. We'll go for Swiftfoot Boots, so that way we can still equip up our equipments. So sack Inventor's Fair for the Swiftfoot Boots. We draw a Ghostly Prison. That could actually be pretty helpful. So cast the Swiftfoot Boots. Equip the Swiftfoot Boots. Next cast Luxodon Warhammer. And equip the Luxodon Warhammer. 1 mana left, not much we can do with it. but opponent will be forced into some blocks. So we do put 3 more damage onto our opponent, 3 more commander damage onto our opponent. They're up to 17 commander, but this Maze of Ith is going to be really tricky for us. We really need it. The Maze of Ith with combination of Aura Shards and Trostani is going to be really difficult to deal with. Also, Oketra can make tokens as well, so that'll blow some things up, like they're doing right now. So I think on this coming turn, I think the plan is going to be to slam Kemba, try to make a bunch of tokens and go wide, which is probably actually what I should have done on the last turn. I thought that I would get in for more damage with the Swiftfoot Boots, so... Cathar's Crusade for our opponent, that's not good. Opponent's going to attack in with a bunch of stuff. Ooh, that's a Sunblast Angel. Sunblast Angel only killing one thing at the moment. That kind of sucks. So attack in with our commander. It's probably going to get Maze of Ith, unless they misclick. They forgot to do it. So we put 3 more damage on our opponent. They're up to 20 commander. They forgot about their Maze of Ith. Nice. So next we'll play the Kemba. Also, we need to get this Ghostly Prison down. Get Ghostly Prison down, and start equipping up the Kemba, these Bloodforged Battle Axes. And the big thing is, too, we gain some life out of that, which will buy us some time against our opponent, which we really need right now. Opponent plays Path to Exile on the Kemba. That is unfortunate. We get another land off the Path to Exile. Opponent's going to play Rishkar's Expertise, so it looks like they'll be drawing 3 cards, and getting to cast 1 for free. It's a Stony Silence. Ew. Ew. Stony Silence, really good against our deck. Really, really good. If for some reason we can get rid of the Darksteel mutation, then we can use Balan's ability. But until then, we cannot. Ha! Opponent's got to pay into the Ghostly Prison. They're only going to be able to attack with a couple things. Opponent's going to attack with the Oketra the True. Makes sense. Got the most power and has double strike. That's going to hit. We're going to go down to 19. We draw a Relic Seeker. Relic Seeker is very much a budget version of Stoneforge Mystic. In this particular scenario, it's not going to be great. Swing in with Balan. Opponent mazes it this time. So right here, we're going to slam the Sunblast Angel for no value. No effect on Oketra since it's indestructible. Then we'll also play the Relic Seeker. And we'll just move around some copies of things. Actually, we might be able to cast Gift of Estates. We're both tied on lands, so Gift of Estates, no impact right now, so we'll just equip up some battle... Oh, we can equip our Battle Axe copies. That's not great. That's not great. Forgot about the Stony Silence. Yeah, now we're in trouble. Luminarch Ascension gets a trigger. And just to make things worse, the Death Touch tokens also have Vigilance. Trostani coming back into play. Another Aura Shards trigger. We really need a Return to Dust. Gonna blow up our Ghostly Prison. Ugh. Opponent's gonna swing with all their flying stuff. That's a lot of damage. A lot of damage. It's 12, 15. We go to 4? Yeah, I don't think there's any reason to block at this point. So we're down to 4. We draw a Hedron Archive. Oh, we won't be able to activate the Hedron Archive, so that's not going to do much for us. Yeah, I think the Stony Silence is going to be the thing that gets us. If not, this Cathar's Crusade will kill us very quickly afterwards, but I guess we're just on the hope opponent misclicks plan, or forgets about their Maze of Ith again. That's about all we really got going. So opponent's going to maze our commander, and that is game. I think if we were 1 turn sooner with the Kemba play, then we would have had enough tokens to kind of push our way through, but taking the route that we took gave our opponent just enough time to do everything they needed to do. Now we just need to hope opponent F6s through their turn by accident. So opponent's coming in for lethal, nothing we can do about it. Unfortunately, opponent had all the tools to really shut us down. Maze of Ith, Stony Silence, and Aura Shards is an absolute beating against this deck. Opponent had all the things that really just hose our deck, but we still did a ton of damage, and we did enough damage to make 2 players leave. And if the last opponent wasn't playing things like Stony Silence, we probably would have got there against them as well. So this is the budget version of Balan. It can do some really powerful stuff. I mean, it just went toe-to-toe with a bunch of non-budget decks, so keep that in mind. Plus, if it's something that you like and you keep playing, you can always start with the budget list and then build toward the non-budget version of the deck. Me, personally, I think some of the early things that I would go for beyond the budget list are things like land tax and tithe that help you make sure you hit all your lands, and also getting a lot of the utility lands in the mana base. As we saw in this game, having a strip mine would have really done a lot for us. Making sure you have things like strip mine, ghost quarter, tectonic edge, myriad landscape, and the proper set of utility lands I think will go a really long way in this deck. I did have to make some cuts out of those areas to get the budget down, so that's probably the first area I would upgrade. I wouldn't necessarily go for Sword of Fire and Ice first. It is a very good card, but it is only one card in your deck, and being around $40 means that you're giving up potentially several other big cards to be able to play that one card. And while it's a very good card, it doesn't necessarily scream $40 card to me. And as far as equipments, I would probably look at some of the non-Fire and Ice swords that are a bit cheaper. If you can get some of those swords around 15 or 20, I think those will perform to their worth. Also, Umezawa's Jitte is fairly inexpensive, at least compared to what it used to be. That's probably something that I would also go for before Sword of Fire and Ice. Again, if you're working on a budget. If budget's no problem, go crazy, buy all of them. But for those on a budget, I don't think Sword of Fire and Ice is necessarily the first card to go to. It is just so expensive that it is a hard sell. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this deck. As always, feel free to comment, like, or subscribe. Thank you for watching.